Twitter is one of those platforms that goes in and out of style. And with the recent acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk, it has attracted renewed attention, which is why I invited Stepan Hlinka to sit for my podcast, because over the last 4 weeks, his Twitter account has amassed over 50,000 followers, but even better than that, his Twitter account has helped him collect over 3,000 leads. Let's talk about Twitter. It's kind of hot right now, and that is because Elon Musk recently purchased the platform, and everybody is suddenly interested in what's going on in Twitter. What's going on Twitter? Should I be turning my attention to this platform? Now, recently, I've been watching the adventures and misadventures of one Stepan Hlinka, and I hope I said that right, and he has been crushing it on Twitter, and I thought that I'd drag him onto my podcast to have a conversation about that. Stepan, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about, talk about Twitter because, like you said, a lot of people talk about it right now since Elon acquired it. And I'm excited about Twitter and, happy to share everything I learned in the past, 1 or 2 months.
Well, I've been watching you on social media. I've been following you for years. Yeah. And I think that I first stumbled across your activities. I think maybe you were focusing pretty exclusively at that time on Facebook advertising.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like that was my main thing before. I basically started like in e-commerce back in the day. And that's how I learned original like Facebook ads, because I was running my own e-commerce store. And after that, in like 2017, I transitioned into like helping other businesses with Facebook advertising. Long story short, managed millions of dollars on Facebook advertising campaigns, providing like done for you services. And yeah, later on moved in more into like consultations, coaching, selling digital products about marketing, and that's basically like a really short story right now.
But there's clearly was this light bulb moment where you went, I'm helping all these other people sell their stuff. Yeah. And then suddenly one day you started to launch these incredible 5-day challenges. And as one way to generate interest in your 5-day challenges, Twitter is one of the tools that you began to use, and we'll get into that. But the 5-day challenge, your stats around these 5-day, 10-day challenges that you help people build and assemble, what are some of the more impressive, insane statistics?
Yeah, it's been crazy, so basically in the past like 12 months, my clients did over $1 million in sales with like challenge launches. Now, if you don't know what is the challenge launch, it's basically where you create a 3 to 5 day training. It can be either free or paid. If we do paid, it's a low ticket one. And then you promote it, right? You fill it with your ideal clients and you deliver 3 to 5 days worth of training in a private closed Facebook group to people or on Zoom, and you give a lot of value, right? You shift their beliefs, and at the end you make an offer to join your main offer, right? We typically sell high ticket stuff on the back of the challenge. So yeah, over $1 million in the past 12 months. And it basically all started when one of my friends actually, who's doing really well selling, Amazon coaching, he actually showed me, we were chatting, and he showed me his ClickFunnels account that he's using, like his software that he's using basically to process sales. And that was like $1 million in 1 week, right? And I was like, yeah. And I was like blown away. And I immediately obviously asked him like, how did you do that? So like, what's, because it was actually $1 million in profit. That's crazy because it was after ad spend. And he showed me that he's doing these challenge launches. Right. So I got curious. I basically asked him a bunch of questions, and that's where it began. I myself immediately jumped in and did my first challenge, really small challenge with like 200 people who signed up. It was a free challenge, and it went quite well. Like I did like 24K in a week. And yeah, basically that's how it started.
And that is nothing to sneeze at. And I've been following you, and I've been following your journey. And I don't know if this was the biggest, but I did see one of your clients mopped up about $200,000 in 1 week.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah. One of my clients did like $195,000. If another client actually, but he actually has some existing audience already. That's why it was so big. He did like 311K in a week, which is nuts.
And instantly, to put things in perspective, Stepan is a man of the world, born in Czechoslovakia. Him and his wife travel the world. Where are you today?
In Malaysia right now. Yeah, we are moving a lot, like every 3 months right now. Every 2-3 months we move to like different country, mainly in Asia right now. And yeah, it's been something that we enjoy doing at this
I've been enjoying your photos from Japan over the last
really?
couple of weeks. I think I saw you dressed as a samurai. Did I see you dressed as a samurai?
Sorry?
Did I see you dressed as a samurai, or is it your?
No. It's only my wife dressed as geisha. Yeah, I didn't do that, but I was just like a photographer for her.
Yeah, cool. So this Twitter thing. So lately, Twitter's just been going off in your world, and I know that earlier today you ran a masterclass with about 100 people, showing them your Twitter strategies, and that is indeed why we're here. But the journey is consultant that began to sell his own training products, teaching people how to do challenges. And then as a way to generate leads, you stumble into Twitter. So tell us the backstory behind that and where has that got to now?
Yeah, what's funny, I have a Twitter account since like 2018, but I've never used it, right?
I've one since about 2008.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like we, create like a social media platform account, but we dabble, maybe post sometimes, but we don't really like focus on that. It's not the main thing, right? And it was for me because I wasn't using Twitter for years. And like last year, I started going again on Twitter, but not as a creator, but as a consumer. I started like enjoying the platform a lot, like for consuming content there. Because I found like you can connect with some like really cool people there, and the quality of the content, in my opinion, is like way better, for example, than on Facebook. So I started like being more on Twitter, but not really doing anything there. And about 2 months ago, it's actually less than 2 months ago, I've decided like, let's go focus on Twitter, right? Because I've seen some big creators there generating like thousands, tens of thousands of leads from Twitter, doing really well with Twitter. I was like, I enjoy writing, right? I enjoy to write content, and Twitter is a perfect platform for that. So that's basically where I started like, okay, making the decision, I will go on Twitter. And I started like, purchasing some courses and connecting with people who are doing really well on Twitter. And that's basically how that journey began. And
But you, I would say, I've watched you use different platforms. You come at it from your own perspective and you do it your own way.
Yeah, I did it my own way. We can go into it because I did actually like total opposite, like what people told me in those courses. Yeah.
What are the stats now? Because I was looking at your follow account the other day.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I went basically from zero. I had like 700 followers to 50,000 followers in 4 weeks.
In 4 weeks, yeah.
In 4 weeks, my content has had like 84 million impressions in the last 4 weeks, just like crazy. And yeah, some tweets, some content there that like reached over 10-20 million people. So yeah, it's been crazy. It's been really fast. I have literally people with bigger followings, like 200K people. Like people with 200K followers reaching out to me, like asking how I did it. So yeah, it's been wild.
So what I'll do is I'll ask you some questions about this. Yeah. And I know that you've just run this whole massive masterclass today, so your brain's probably a little bit fried. But let's start with mistakes. As a giant blowfly flies into my office, what are some of what would be the most typical mistake?
Yeah, I think like the first major mistake is what I did for like 4 years, like dabbling, like not even making the decision to like focus on that platform, because, you can be on multiple different platforms, but if you are not like putting that focus into that, you will barely grow, right? So a lot of people, what they do and what I did was just like reposting content, let's say from Facebook or other social media platforms, and like posting it on Twitter. And, every platform, even though like the principles stays the same, it's a little bit different, right? So you need to like really make the decision that you will focus on Twitter specifically. I would say like is the biggest mistake. The second one is you need to get clear what you are talking about. So you are not just like, talking one day about one thing, second day about, completely different thing, because that's what will confuse your audience. They will not even know like what you are doing. And I would say like third big mistake that applies to like every social media platform is not getting people off of the social media platform, right? So a lot of people, they focus on building their following, which is great. And there are definitely benefits to that. And it's amazing for getting attention, but you don't own that audience, right? So Zuckerberg or Facebook or Twitter, YouTube, all these social media platforms can like ban you within a second. So that's why it's like super important to get people off of the platform on your own email, is because that's where basically you build a best audience. You actually own that audience, and you can communicate even if like you lose all social media platforms, you can still communicate with those people. So I would say like these three would be the biggest mistakes. One more if I can, that just came to my mind, is hoping that their content will be seen if you are starting from scratch. And that's probably like really something that a lot of creators struggle, because they set the intention, they start being consistent, they post a lot, but they get no engagement, right? Nobody sees their content. So yeah, I did something differently to really make sure that there are eyeballs on my content. We can go into that, but
let's come back to that. And I think that so I guess if there's a mistake, it might be something around not kickstarting it or getting the ball rolling. Anyway, we'll come back to that. But I want to unpack the three things that you said. One was you said don't dabble. And you'd also mentioned a little bit earlier that you were enjoying the platform. And I do believe that this is important. If you're going to decide that LinkedIn's your channel or Facebook's your channel, lately I've been loving, embarrassingly so, I've been loving TikTok. Don't tell anyone. You should see me twerk, Stepan. It's amazing. No, I'm not doing the dances, don't worry. But Stepan enjoyed the platform, but he said, don't dabble. I will say double down. So don't double down. If you're going to do it well. The second thing he talked about was knowing why you're there. We have an expression that we call the 3 Ps. One person, one problem, one product. So you jump on and you go, who's my target audience? What are the problems that they face? And in the case of Twitter, you are the product. The third element is having some sort of off-ramp. So what do you have as your off-ramp, Stepan?
Yeah, so for me, and it's actually something that is quite popular on Twitter. I don't see it happening on other social media platforms, but because Twitter is about writing, right? And a lot of people who are on Twitter and consuming content on Twitter, they enjoy reading the content. So that's why basically my thing that I promote is a daily newsletter, right? Most people promote like weekly newsletters where you send one piece of content per week. I do daily newsletter. I love email marketing. I think it's still the best way to really communicate with your audience and convert leads into customers and clients. So yeah, my main thing is email newsletter.
So this is crazy because, this is really counterintuitive, counterintuitive, because most people, no one wakes up in the morning and says, honey, I'd like to subscribe to another email newsletter. But however, if this is if it's a medium where people enjoy writing and they're enjoying Stepan's stuff because it's relevant to them because he's got his 3 Ps right, they're going to subscribe. Now, incidentally, we might come back to this. You've got a great structure for your email newsletter, and I think we'll put the link underneath this. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
totally cool. So if anyone wants to see Stepan's email newsletter, you can do that. So a couple of things to absorb there. Don't dabble. Focus, know your focus area. We talk about the 3 Ps, have an off ramp. Now, there are things not to do. You obviously got a couple of things right. You got a couple of things right because things began to explode for you pretty quickly. What are 1 or 2 or even 3 things that you did that were just right?
Yeah. So like I said before, I did quite opposite what I've been told. And I'm not saying like the other strategies doesn't work, but it's just like it felt slow to me because the most advice that I got around Twitter, and that's what you will hear the most, is post a lot, right? Like 5 times a day minimum, because Twitter is a little bit different than other social media platforms. Like if you see people on Twitter, they tweet a lot, right? It's like you can have like 20 tweets a day and nobody like is bothered by that. It's different than on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. So the first advice I got, like, post a lot, at least 5 times a day. And the second advice I got is to engage with big accounts on Twitter, because that way you are basically, their followers will see your comments and will check your profile and eventually follow you. And again, it sounds good. I even tried it for a while, but I didn't like it because it's slow, right? It's really, really slow. And although I agree, like, engaging with bigger accounts is great to build connection and make yourself like familiar to that person you want to connect with. So for that reason, it's great. I connected with a lot of like great people on Twitter, but for getting followers, I would never get like 50K followers in 4 weeks doing that. So, yeah. So what I did instead is there are like 2 really big pieces to that and a couple of small pieces. The 2 big ones is, first one, I focused on quality versus quantity, meaning I focused only on posting threads. Now, for those of you who don't know,
sorry, say that word again, because your accent.
Yeah, threads.
Threads.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, threads.
But before the recording, I spent 10 minutes trying to learn how to say Stepan.
Yeah.
Hlinka.
Obviously, yeah, my accent is not perfect, but basically what is a thread is basically, you know, on Twitter, you have a limit on how many characters you can put into one tweet. So what a lot of people do if they want to post long form content is they create a thread, which means it's a combination of multiple tweets, right? And how to best describe it is that the first tweet is like a hook of that entire thread. Then you have, let's say, 5 to 10 other tweets below that explains the content, gives the value, tell a story, whatever. And last one is the call to action, right? That's where you summarize it and you give them call to action. So that's the thread, right? And I've decided to only focus on that and not post like a single tweet. So my plan was to only post threads because I knew that you get most followers from threads, because that's where you give the most value.
I love it. And it's like a list. I've seen them. So sometimes it's like, here are 10 websites that it seems absurd that they're free. They should be illegal or something like that.
Yeah.
And what was that headline? I got it.
Yeah, that was one of mine. That was like the most viral one. It was 13 free websites that are so useful they feel illegal to know. 13
free websites that are so useful they feel illegal to know.
Yeah,
which is well and truly within whatever the character limit is these days. I can't remember. It used to be 140. Now it's a lot more.
280. It's right.
280. And then you list that. Posted a thread, and I saw it. Guys and gals listening to this, there were number 8 was I don't know, Wise Stamp or something. I don't know, and they'd have like 300, 400 retweets, and 1,000 likes. It was crazy.
No, actually. 300,000 likes, 60,000 retweets, 21 million people reached with that one tweet.
It was crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So we use the expression listicle. So it's exactly. A listicle. It's just like 10 things to get right, 7 things to get right, run as a thread. How often are you posting those types of, how often will you post a thread at this point in time?
Yeah, so basically, like, the strategy that most people use, that is probably like the best strategy long-term, is to do like 1 or 2 threads per week. Because they, it takes a lot of time to write one if you want to write a good one. Yeah. But because like my desire was to grow fast, I was like, I will not focus on anything else. Then I will not do single tweets. I will not post 5 times a day. And what I did is I started posting 1 thread a day, right? Only threads, nothing else. Now, I didn't like keep with that because it was a lot. So right now I post like thread every other day, approximately. So 15 threads in 30 days. That's how I basically got to 50K followers because I didn't post anything else. You will get the most amount of followers from threads. So that's why basically my plan was to only focus on them and maximize that strategy. And that's what basically allowed me to grow fast. Yeah.
Now, I know that I said that there was another sort of like a way that you managed to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And the slow version, as we learned, was to slowly make friends with all these influencers and maybe go and leave comments so that other people following them go, what an insightful, intelligent comment from that erudite young Stepan. I'm going to go check out his profile. But you were impatient.
Yeah.
That seemed like a slow path. What did you do?
Yeah, I was impatient with that. Again, it works, but it's slow. So what I did instead is, and actually we would be surprised, a lot of people actually advise not to do that for some reason, because they told me like, you need to learn Twitter first. So what I did is I basically reached out to bigger accounts in my niche, right? They already have the audience. So my idea was, okay, I will create these valuable threads. And what if I leverage other people's audience to get eyeballs on those threads? Because it's really a combination of valuable content that appeals to a lot of people, so they actually reshare it, right, retweet it. And second, getting eyeballs on that. And the biggest problem, if you are starting from zero, right, you have 0 followers on Twitter, or even like few followers on Twitter, is that even if you create a great content, it's useless because nobody sees it. So I could create the best content on my account, but if nobody sees it, it wouldn't get attraction. So my plan was to get the initial reach and initial engagement to, you know, create a team of 5 or 6 bigger accounts and pay them for retweets, right? So what I did, I reached out to a couple of accounts and I negotiated a deal with 6 accounts. They all have more than 50,000 followers in my niche. And the deal that I made with them was that every time I post a thread, they would retweet it, meaning they would share it to their audience immediately. So it gets the immediate initial engagement and reach. And then what I also did, I asked them if they could retweet every thread after 12 hours again. Because after 12 hours, right, you can boost it again to different time zone. There are people in different time zones. So they retweeted me again after 12 hours. And that's literally like how I got the initial engagement, initial reach. And if the content was good, it was spreading like a wildfire because more people started retweeting it.
So there's some people going to say you cheated. But no, what you did is you realize that time, some people spend their time to save money. You decided to spend a bit of money to save time.
Yeah, I'm saying this actually all the time because every successful person I know, they are willing to spend money to save their time, right? And a lot of people who are stuck, who are like doing everything else, and they are trying to save a little bit of money. A little bit of money, but they are wasting a lot of time, right? Because they do everything slow, everything themselves. So yeah, what I decided to do is basically pay a little bit of money, because by the way, it's not that expensive to get those accounts to retweet you. I was like surprised about that. And I leveraged other people's audience to get the initial reach on my post. And one more thing, what is really important to understand, because some people, they reached out to me and they were like, oh, so this is what makes it go viral, right? And it's not, right? Because like you
can't just pay someone and it goes viral.
Exactly. So I had threads, I had content where the same accounts retweeted me and it bombed, right? It got like, let's say it reached 50,000 people. It's still quite good, right? 50,000 people and get like 300 likes, okay? But others with the same accounts retweeting it reached, like I told you, like 20 million people, get 300,000 likes, right? So the main thing is to get people to retweet it. And the content itself needs to be really valuable. It needs to be something that people would share with others, because then it's spreading like a wildfire if a lot of people start retweeting it.
So I want to ask you some just quick logistical questions. How did you know who you wanted to partner with? So, I mean, like people will ask, how did you reach out? You probably reached out to them via Twitter, because that would make complete sense. But were these people that you were following that you just knew about, or how did you find these specific accounts? And also, how many people did you partner with?
Yeah, great question. So what I did is I started like searching for keywords on Twitter, you know, in my niche. And I basically find those pages. It's like everywhere. Like you have personal brands, you have companies, and then you have like these anonymous accounts, right? Where they're like a niche accounts. So what I did is I reached out to these niche accounts, because personal brands typically charge you way more just because it's a personal brand. So I reached out to niche accounts and I just found them on Twitter, you know, like based on keywords. Also like quick insight tip. If you just go to Twitter and type Twitter growth and search for people on Twitter, a lot of these people who are like willing to, you know, retweet you, they have a Twitter growth or Twitter ghostwriter in their bio. So you can search them like that and you can reach out to them. And they are in a lot of different niches. There are literally hundreds, probably thousands of people that are, selling the retweets, because it's really easy to do retweets. It takes you like 1 second. So imagine if you reach out to someone and like, hey, I have a great content coming up, right? Would you be willing to retweet my content if I pay you for that, right? So that's how I found them, right? How I reached out to them, this is also really important. I reached out to through Twitter, but I immediately got them on Telegram, because Twitter doesn't like if you talk about paid retweets in the messages. That's at least what I heard from multiple people on Twitter. So I immediately took them to Telegram, and they all have Telegram because they are used to it. And on Telegram, basically, I negotiated a deal for 30 days. I told them I will do a thread every day for 30 days. So technically, it's for 30 threads because I didn't keep up with daily threads. And yeah, I negotiated the price with them. And there was one more question probably that you asked that I missed.
I'm just totally gripped. I'm just
yeah. So I reached out. I got them to Telegram. That's how I negotiated a deal. You asked like, how did I find like, what are the best accounts, right? I didn't really overthink that, right? I just found accounts in my niche who are having like a great engagement on Twitter.
I know what I asked, or at least I thought it.
Okay.
And that was, how many people did you reach out to and engage with to have one person say yes? So for example, if you reached out to 10 people and three of them said yes, that would be like a 3 and 10.
Great question. It's actually easier than you might think. I literally reached out to one person that I like. It was obvious they are like doing this kind of stuff. They were also like retweeting other people, and I got them on Telegram. I asked about it, and they had a network of bunch of other accounts, bunch of other pages, right? So they can connect you with a lot of people. So literally you need one and they will connect you with a lot of others. So they started connecting me. Basically what they did, they showed me like the list of accounts they are like, cooperating with. And I then basically found those accounts myself, and I negotiated with everyone one by one, because they offered me like a, joint deal, but I negotiated with every account one by one, and I got 6 accounts. And it took me like 2 days in total to really get them on board.
Yeah. So we haven't really been talking about how much it costs to get someone to retweet. And I'm sure that's because everybody's got their different prices, and
I can tell you the rates. It's actually surprising. I'm sure, because I was also chatting with some personal brands, they are charging way more. But those accounts, also after some negotiation, always negotiate. Okay, that's key. But on average, I had 6 accounts retweeting me, and on average for each, I paid $150 for the whole 30 days. Okay, so $750 in total, and it's basically what helped me to get the initial reach that eventually resulted in 50K.
So I'm going 6 times 150 is $900. Now, this is US dollars. We always talk in US dollars. All our products and services are in US dollars, but $900 US dollars is
750 actually.
700. Of course it is. My maths brain is so bad. Speaking of maths brains, did you then go back and work out how many leads that you generated and how much the cost per lead was?
Yeah. We can calculate it, but I got more than around 3,000 email subscribers directly from Twitter during those.
That is crazy.
During those 4 weeks, around 3,000. It was like a little bit less than 3,000. So if you do the math, it's like
cents on the dollar.
It's crazy. Like if you compare it to like paid advertising, it's crazy.
So there is an element to this, which is also very important, and it comes back to, I think it was the second tip that we heard today, and we talked about don't dabble, but number 2 was focus. So these partners obviously needed to be in your niche, and as well too, the content needed to be something of high perceived value. And if you don't do that, you're going to end up with, 3,000 leads that are all garbage.
Yeah, like here's the thing. That's a really good point, because I will be completely transparent. Not everybody who started following me, not everybody is my ideal client, right? Because my strategy, just to give you insight, is that I feel like right now I'm basically in a growth phase. So I only focus on threads because that's where you get the most amount of followers, and I focus on a little bit broader content. So I don't talk about relationship, it's too broad, right? But I focus on broader content than just like specific content to my ideal clients. And there's nothing wrong with going real niche. You will actually get more quality followers, but the downside is you will never go viral with that probably, right? Because I have content that is like super niched, right? Only for people selling coaching or services or courses. But there's, you know, outside of our bubble here, like there's not a lot of people doing that in general. So not a lot of people will retweet it. It will not go viral typically, even if it's really valuable content. So my strategy is that I combine broader content that I know will appeal to masses, right? To a lot of people. And I know it has
it's not so broad.
Yeah, it's not so broad, but it's still something that will appeal to a lot of people, you know? So for example, I had a thread going viral and it was like, this took me this was the hook, right? This took me 5 years to learn. I will teach it to you in 2 minutes. Here are 42 sentences that will teach you more about marketing than a 4-year degree. Now, I know it sounds a little bit clickbaity, but that's how it is, right?
You're only going to attract people who are interested in marketing, which is either a marketing professional or a small business owner. We call this the zone of specificity.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about growth, and that's too big. Or we can say we're going to talk about the 3 ingredients of a high converting landing page.
Yeah.
And then that's probably too narrow. But the zone of specificity, I think that you've got a broad zone of specificity.
Yeah.
But what you said about needing to have a certain critical mass to make it go viral, I hadn't really thought about that. That's really important. That's great.
That's really important. Because I had some content that was great, but it was like too niche, like you just said, too specific. And it never went viral, right? It never will go viral. So my goal is like, first of all, with those like broader type of content to get attention, get my name out there, get followers on my page. And then basically I combine it with a niche content and 2 more things that we can cover here, which are really important. Basically strategy, how to build relationship faster with those people, etc. But then I basically have a niche content to get the interested prospects to raise their hands, right? And identify themselves like as potential clients.
And when they come into your database, then some people are going to stick around, some people are not. Yeah. Some people are going to complete some sort of triage form, and then they're your ideal customer or client. And these people that are coming into your world, I'm sure that they signed up for your recent Twitter training.
Yeah.
You've also got your 5-day challenges and the challenges for your clients. Now, I'm gonna give Stepan a little bit of a plug here, and I want you guys and gals to listen. Open both those ears that you've got there. This is someone that's not just great on Twitter. This is someone that is an expert marketer that looks at things from different angles, looks a little bit deeper. And this is the reason why Stepan is able to run these 5-day, 10-day challenges and help clients run 5, 10-day challenges, which is his wheelhouse and area of expertise. I said a little bit earlier, can we include a link to your newsletter below this video? And you said yes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in not just Twitter, but you're interested in challenges, you're interested in broader marketing theory, click that link and sign up for the newsletter. And it's not just because I'm saying so, and it's not just because the challenges are cool, and it's not just because Twitter's cool. I would say maybe the first 5 emails in your sequence. How long does your onboarding sequence go for?
Oh, it's actually 1 email, okay, or 2 emails technically, but it's really unique, I would say. I will talk about it straight now. So first of all, like if you sign up to that newsletter, obviously you'll be in a newsletter. But second thing is you will get a gift, right? So how it works is what I do with my newsletter, and that's basically how I get people mainly from Twitter as well, and really like introduce them to my world a little bit better and pre-frame them on what's coming. So what I do is when on the opt-in page, you will see straight away, I'm really honest there. So it's a daily newsletter and I sell a lot. Okay. So I tell them right away, hey, do not sign up if you don't like this, because I will email you daily, sometimes even more, and I will make you offers a lot, probably in every email. Right. So I'm really, really honest and upfront about it. And that basically weaves out like everybody who's like a freebie seeker, or like they just don't like to be sold to. Right. I don't need them on my list anyway. So then people sign up, and on the thank you page, it tells them, it basically stops them and tells them, hey, wait, it's you are not in yet. First, you need to check your email and you need to reply to confirm your subscription. So this is a little bit unique, because what a lot of people do when they do like, when you need to confirm the subscription, there's just like a button, hey, confirm the subscription here. I don't do that. They literally are on my database already because they signed up, but I want them to open the first email and I want them to reply to the first email, because what happens is they are more likely to receive my future emails, right? It helps.
Yeah, it's going to go into the primary folder.
Exactly.
Spam filters are being trained.
Exactly. So what I do is on the thank you page, I tell them, hey, you are not in yet. What is I don't care about the number of people on my list. You will see it in the sequence. I care about people who actually want to be there, right? And want to engage. And I tell them that first, they need to reply to the email, to the first email. And second, they need to actually then consistently open my emails and engage. Otherwise, they'll be removed from the email list. So what happens is, like, I get crazy open rate on the first email. I don't even know what is the number, but here's what's even cooler. Like, more than 40% of people not just open, but reply to the first email. So probably more, it was like around 50%. Right now it's, I think, between 40 and 50% reply to the first email. And what I do there, basically, you will see it in the first email. I tell them basically what they are getting in an email newsletter, what the valuable stuff I will be sharing. That's how I start. So they see like what's coming and something that they actually want, right? And then I tell them to confirm your subscription, reply to this email and tell me, how did you find about me? So it also gives me great insight. Okay, where did you find about me? Yeah. And then I basically close it with a free gift. And I tell them, and it's actually a real thing. I have a masterclass that I did that is super cool. I do these like paid masterclasses, right? They are typically between like $100 to $300. And I tell them, hey, I have this cool masterclass. It's currently $300, which is true. On my website, you can actually buy it for $300. But if you reply to this email within first 24 hours, I will send it to you over for free. And it's just like, right now they have like two main reasons why to reply to the email. And that's why like I get a lot of replies. And then I have automation set up where it sends them the gift, the access to the masterclass, if they reply within the first 24 hours. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So it is funny. I said, what's your onboarding sequence? And you go, I don't have onboarding sequence. I just have one, but in its own way, it feels like it's multiple emails. Now we can talk all day. We could, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recap really quickly, and then I'm going to ask Stepan for any final words of advice. But this is just some of my takeaways. Are you ready? Number one, don't dabble, double down. Number two, know your audience, focus, the 3 Ps. Number three, have an off-ramp. What's your end goal? Number four, quality over quantity. The thread strategy was kick ass. Number 5, zone of specificity. If you want to create content, don't make it too broad. Don't make it too narrow. Don't make it too broad, but it needs to be broad enough to trigger viral reach. That's 5 big tips. And then as a bonus tip would be, don't be afraid to pay other people to augment your reach, to get the ball rolling, like a snowball that you push down the hill. Pay some cash to get someone to push that snowball down the hill for you and watch it gather snow and turn into something far, far greater than you could have created on your own. Any final words of advice, Stepan, Hlinka?
Yeah, so I will give you the final advice within the topic we talk about, right? So I don't keep it like too broad. So when it comes to Twitter, one key thing that I also implemented, because I told you, like, some of the content is a little bit broader. So I was thinking about like, how can I build relationship and connection with those people like faster? So what I did, and you can check it on my Twitter, I wrote what I call hero story thread. And it's basically your story in a long thread. And you write it, you use the great storytelling there. You can check my pinned tweet and you pin it on your profile. So all these new followers that are coming in, the first thread that they see on your profile is the story. And once they read the story, I mean, like, they are fans, right? You turn basically strangers into fans because they read the entire thing, what you are going right now, what you went through, everything. And at the end, obviously, there's call to action to the newsletter. So what I do, I have it on top of my profile, and I also plug it after each thread. So all these viral threads, at the end, there's like call to action to follow me. And second call to action is you might also enjoy my thread about how I went from working at a supermarket to making 40K per month online, right? And there's a thread to my story. You can see it on Twitter, but that's basically how you skyrocket. I get dozens of DMs from people like, oh, I loved your story. I read your story. That's awesome, right? So that's really
cool. That is amazing. Extra bonus tip, guys and gals. That's how to crush it on Twitter with a little bit of wisdom into challenges as well too. And I hope to catch up with Stepan sometime once again in the future to maybe even talk about Facebook ads. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was great. Thanks a lot.